Jesse from Ontario wants to know, how do you select an insurance agent in South Florida when you're looking to buy a policy?
I have opinions on this, but maybe you want to share.
I mean, it's subjective. You just got to find someone, that's agreeable to you, that answered that is. I mean, the most important thing is accessibility. I mean, will they answer the phone when you call? Are their employees answering the phone when you call, or are you having to leave messages? If you call in and you need an endorsement, are they going to do it quickly, or are they going to take months to get it done? That's really what it comes down to. And then on top of that is the number of carriers that they have. So you want to talk to the agent and be like, okay, how many homeowners carriers do you have that write in the state of Florida? If they're saying, oh, I only have 3 or I only have 4, that's kind of a red flag because you're only going to get 4 quotes. If you call an agent and they, I have 20 or I have 30, that is ideal. You want to get as many quotes as you can from one place. And then the other thing you want to ask is, do they quote you at renewal, like automatically? So our agency has a system now that automatically, so we have a rater that rates all of our homeowners carriers. And every time you come up for renewal, when we get the renewal list, we click on it and it gives us all the quotes. So we see all the quotes there and we're like, okay, you're with Universal, you're paying $8,000. Here's a quote with Edison, it's 6. Send it to the client. These are the differences between the 2 policies. You're going to have full water damage on this one. You're going to have limited on this one, but it's going to save you $2,000. Do you want to do it? And then you can make the decision. But you don't want an agent that doesn't do that, because now you never know if you're overpaying or you're paying more than, the next quote or whatever. If it's your decision to stay where you're at, that's good. But if if your agent's just not doing the legwork, that's not ideal, obviously. So
yeah, I bump into a few things from time to time when I'm working with buyers. We kind of do the service for the buyers a lot of times. Mm-hmm. We go through the purchase contract and then inspection. As soon as we get the inspection results, we're pushing the 4-point win mitt to you, Mike, mm-hmm. and with the client CC'd in it.
Right.
And you guys respond very quickly and get a quote back. And so at least they got the quote. We know we can get insured. We have no issues, or we know there's issues and we address them during the inspection period. This is one very important thing. We can dwell on that later. But when it comes to selecting the right insurance agent, my whole thing for people is to your point, 1, super accessible. Mm-hmm. Yep. 2, as you just described, I think a good, for me, I'm like only considering the top agents, insurance agents, which would be baseline. They sell, or they're actively selling for all the carriers,
right,
or whatever, you know what I mean? Right. They're like actively prospecting all the carriers. They know who they need to be in touch with and who they can work with. And so I think that's like a baseline expectation from an insurance guy in the area, which isn't true for every insurance company.
Yeah, it's difficult to get the appointments. I mean, that's the hardest part of our job, is getting these carriers to appoint us. We just got a new one, Tower Hill. I've been trying to get that one for 5-6 years. It's not easy to get. And meet with them, you go to FAI, you talk to them, all this stuff. But if they're not appointing, or you don't make the relationship with the marketing rep, you won't get it. So now that we have Tower Hill, we have pretty much everybody. I mean, there's one other carrier we're trying to get, but I mean, they're not super competitive right now, so it's not the end of the world. But you never know. I mean, there might not be right now. They're not competitive, and then next year they lower their rates by 20%, and they're the most competitive, and then you don't have them. So you always want to try to stay on top of that and get as many carriers as you want as an agent. But essentially now, if you're opening a brand new agency, I don't know how you get these carriers. Like, you couldn't even get Progressive. You couldn't get Geico now. It's you got to have a book already in order to get it. So essentially what's going on is you have a lot of these franchises, that go, I don't want to say names because I don't want to get sued, but whatever, but there's franchises that are agents, that are these franchise agents. You'll see a bunch of them out there, and those tend to be, a little bit, they have all the carriers and stuff, but there's, one of the franchises will be really good. The other one is not going to be very good. There's a little bit of an inconsistency there. I keep everything pretty close to the chest. I only have 2 other agents that work for me that I can trust. And I mean, we write probably enough business for 10 agents, to be honest with you. So, but it's just, I don't want someone in there that's going to make me look bad. So, that's really what it is.
That's the other piece of the puzzle, mm-hmm. I've noticed. And I've worked with a lot of insurance
mm-hmm.
agents through interactions on other deals. And so experience matters.
Absolutely.
Your ability to explain the insurance policies
mm-hmm.
matter. So for me, again, it's like sells for as many carriers as possible, is super accessible, can have a constructive, good conversation with you on the phone and educate you on
Right.
what the heck you're doing. You and I have this conversation probably every year, and I own a lot of real estate and I sell a lot of real estate. And,
Right.
and still, I'm like, hey, walk me through the insurance, what I'm getting for my insurance, right? And I get like reminded / re-educated every time we redo all our policies or talk through the renewals of these things. So that is like a huge piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
And then finally, those three things plus constructive. Be constructive. Like insurance agents down here need to be on the team, deal solvers, not deal killers.
Right. Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. You got to look for, I always try to, if I have a problem, like you give me an account, I'm like, oh, this one's going to be an issue. The first thing I do is I try to find a solution. I'm not going to call you unless either I've exhausted all options or I have a solution. So, that's always my go-to. I try not to call you and kill any deals. I don't think I have in a long. I don't ever think I have, to be honest with you.
It's
always find a way.
It's like, for me, it's like the creativity when we really need it most is super important.
Absolutely.
And so like we've done deals where we're the listing agents. The buyers can't get insurance.
Oh yeah.
Then we get on the phone with you.
Yeah, it's like half our deals.
And we talk, And then we talk through, actually that's so funny because most of our deals, because I'm a heavy listing agent, comes from you doing insurance
Saving
for
the
the
day.
buyers, the buyers.
yeah.
So these buyers agents out there, this is insane. These buyers agents out there don't have a trusted, experienced insurance person in their back pocket that they're using every day. And what happens is they show up to do this deal. I'm representing the seller, and immediately we do this for every deal now because it just happens so much.
Yeah.
As soon as they get the insurance reports, a lot of times those buyers agents will share those insurance reports with us, the 4-point and the wind mitigation report, and then we'll flip them to you, Mike, CCing the agent and CCing the buyer, and you'll come through with the quote, the solution, where they were for a moment there, they were unable to get insurance, thus unable to get a loan, thus unable to buy the property, which is insane. And so like the level of, hey, Mike, I need you for a minute, get you on the phone. Anthony, your other guy on your team, great guy. You guys you jump on the phone. We talk with the buyer's agent, me, you, sometimes the buyer, sometimes the seller's on, and we're just talking strategy. How do we get this thing insured? And like, what do we need to do? Okay, we need to do X, Y, and Z. This is how we're going to do it. Or, hey, we can get insurance this way if we kind of go this path. And so we need to have that. You need to have that. And that's,
some of the times it's not even me saving the deal. It's just I'll send the email and I'll ask for whatever information, or I'll send the quote, and they'll be like, oh, we already got a quote, and then they'll email me back, why is this 20% less than the quote I got? And I go, I don't know what quote you got. Send it to me, and I'll tell you why. They'll send it to me, and I'll go, well, because the carrier's just got a higher rate. This one's got the same coverages, but it's 20% less. Do you want to go with it? And I would say I closed probably about 70, 80% of those deals that you're not even the realtor on. I mean, you're the selling realtor. You're not their realtor. You're not the buyer's realtor.
100%. It's become a process that we now do automatically as listing agents. We make sure the buyer can get insurance early on in the process. So we're not 30 days deep into this thing because, I'm going to say this respectfully, ding-dong buyer agent didn't get a quote and decided to get the quote on day 25 when the lender said, hey, we need an insurance quote to give loan commitment. And then they go get the quote, and the quote basically says, oh, it's too expensive. Now they don't qualify for the loan, or, oh, the house doesn't qualify for insurance, and so on and so forth. So we solve that problem up front.
Absolutely.
And that's a big piece of the puzzle. It's not always about just like solving problems or being creative and wiggling our way through it. It's about identifying the issues up front so we can resolve them early and get the deal done. And that's a big piece of selling and buying real estate in South Florida. You need to bring in your insurance guy. So if you don't have somebody that can do or is on board with doing all of that we just discussed, then you're limiting yourself, potentially hurting yourself as a buyer, as a seller. These are things you're absolutely hurting yourself with. I can't tell you how many deals we see that we're not related to, but they fall through because buyers agents and listing agents don't get insurance quotes until the day before closing. What are we doing? What are we doing?
And I started on the real estate side. I got my real estate license when I was 18. I was working for Coldwell Banker, and they had me doing like nonsense work the whole time. So I just figured I'd bring in my laptop. I got my insurance license, and that's how I started. I started selling to all the realtors there. And that was how I started, in insurance. So,
Yeah,
I started off as a real. That's why I always say I work realtors hours. I don't work,
Yeah, and that's
realtors
another
hours
thing.
are different. Yeah.
I can't tell you how many calls I've made to you guys, you and Anthony, on days that we're like, hey, we're getting under contract on this, or we have something going on. It's a Friday at 7 p.m. or a Saturday or whatever, and I got you guys on the phone. Whereas like I haven't met another insurance agent that does that. So
Most don't.
So these are things that I think matter. Everything's good when everything's good, right? So like guys, like this is like not an issue if your deal goes perfect. But like if your deal doesn't go perfect, which 50% or more of the time deals don't go perfect. There's just too many moving parts. You need the right team on your side. And so this is and the insurance guy is one piece of that puzzle. So
Fastest way to kill a deal is with insurance.
100%. So that's how I would consider thinking about who I'm going to work with early on. I'll leave you this with one other comment. When you have an insurance broker or an insurance agent that is already selling for all these carriers, you don't need to go to another insurance agent to go get more quotes. Right? Like it's not like you're offering a better deal because your margins are different.
No, it's the same commissions. It's the same. So the price I get is the same price that the guy next to me will get. It's just a matter of, do they have that carrier and do they know how to quote it properly?
Yep.
Because sometimes you get a lot of like agents with a lot of turnaround, and they just use agents that they hire, and they don't know how to use the system, and they give you a quote that's too low, and then your price goes up once you close, or it's too high, and you end up paying more than you should.
Yeah. So if you're looking at two agents that are quoting Citizens, and you're trying to make a decision, who do I go with if one's cheaper than the other? It's like, no, that's not the way to think about this, right? It's like, which agent is the right agent for you? Everything else, as you noticed, we didn't talk about price of insurance at all in how do you choose an agent. We talked about all the squishy things, the things that really matter. So the qualitative
It's actually illegal for an agent to charge you more than like to charge you over the policy. They can't. We can't do that. It's illegal. You get in trouble for that. Yeah.
So the big takeaway on that is like, once you find your guy, if you know he sells for these policies or for these carriers, then you just got to go work with him to tweak it, right? So maybe one policy has more personal property than the other, and that's why it's more expensive. Maybe the windstorm deductible is different. I don't know, right? All these things we can go through.
The big thing now is the water damage coverage. So, you have carriers that will sublimit the water damage, and you have carriers that will give full water. So you'll get a sublimited policy. It'll be, let's say, $6,000, and you'll get a full water damage policy, and it'll be $8,000. And some agents won't explain that to you, and you go, I'm going to go with the 6. But when they explain it, and they go, okay, well, if a pipe breaks in your wall or your sewer backs up or anything like that, this policy is only going to pay you $10,000. This one's going to pay you $500,000 because that's what your dwelling limit is. That might sway your opinion on the $2,000. Maybe the $2,000 is worth it, and it's usually not that much. Usually it's like $1,000, $1,200, maybe even less than $1,000, the difference. And some carriers offer to add on the full water. You just have to go through an inspection. But if your agent isn't telling you that stuff, you don't know. They're just writing the policy, not telling you, what options there are. Then you never know, and then until you have a claim, and then the carrier's like, oh, well, we would have done it, but you didn't do it, and then now you only get $10,000.
And so this goes back to the comment around the agent you choose should be experienced and be able to communicate and educate really well, because insurance is weird. It's confusing.
Oh, yeah.
It's not simple. And so that's what you're really looking for.
And this is the most complicated state for insurance.
Yep. 100%.
Hands down.